What's up, YouTube, and what's up, Raider Nation? Before I get into my preview for the Raiders versus Chargers on Thursday Night Football national television audience, I want to give credit to Khalil Mack, Charles Woodson, and Marcel Reese for making the Pro Bowl, especially Charles Woodson his last year. Huge recognition. And I also want to give credit to Khalil Mack because I kind of feel like he hasn't gotten that notoriety in the public's eye. I feel like it's most of his notoriety is for defensive coordinators and coaches, but finally he's getting his notoriety on a national level, so that's huge for him because I thought he had a great rookie campaign last year. He didn't get the sacks, but he was very good against the run. He applied pressure, so congrats to Khalil Mack, who's also the league leader in sacks right now, so that's huge. And also to Marcel Reese, who we always think is this great player, and we're seeing this year he's had more impact than I think in previous years. Hopefully he can come back to the Raiders next year and have even more of an impact, but let's just focus on now. Congratulations to those three players for making the Pro Bowl. Now, let's get into Thursday Night Football, Raiders, Chargers. And I'm actually so thankful that this game is going to be nationally televised because it's Charles Woodson's last home game in the Black Hole, at the Black Hole. And I feel that everybody needs to see this because Charles Woodson, and it sounds woefully trite, but he is a once-in-a-generation player. I mean, every year the scouts say, oh, he's a once-in-a-generation player. You can't miss. Charles Woodson is one of those players who is a once-in-a-generation player. And I'm thankful that I'm a Raider fan, and I actually got to see him for all of his career. I even watched him when he was in Green Bay because I went to school at the University of Wisconsin, so I always saw all of his games. So it's been a pleasure to see Charles Woodson, and it's coming full circle for him coming back to the Raiders, like I said in my previous video when I talked about his retirement. And it's coming full circle to see him back in silver and black and to finish playing at a high level. Like I said before, I thought he had one more year left in him. I wish he could have won a ring in the silver and black, but if you're gonna go out, I guess go out on top. And I'm happy that I get to see Charles Woodson on national television. Everybody else gets to see Charles Woodson on national television, so I'm thankful for that. Now let's get into the analysis of the Chargers versus the Raiders. First things first, Nate Allen's out for this game. I don't know why they didn't put him on injured reserve. There's only one game left. Some speculate that he might be able to come back for the final game against the Chiefs. But I say just rest him, get him healthy for next year. And also, we're going to be out again with Mario Edwards Jr. And this is a pretty significant injury because I was reading the reports, and it seems like he had a pretty serious neck injury, and it's going to take some time to recover, so hopefully he can get better. And I think this is the bigger blow because we've been without Nate Allen for most of the year, but Mario Edwards he has been that guy, that secondary guy that has been able to apply a pressure in the middle and on the sides that allows Khalil Mack to get most of his sacks. And it's kind of ironic because I remember when we drafted him on draft day where he said we in the second round, and they said, oh, we draft Mario Edwards Jr. And so many people said, who? Why are we drafting this guy? And it's come full circle because he's been such a important player to this defense. And I think he's finally realizing his potential. And he's working hard. And I think he can be even better. Hopefully he can return from his neck injury. But that's the biggest blow to our defense, I feel, in terms of pass rush. Hopefully he can return healthy next year. But that's going to be a big blow. And the one thing I always say with Phillip Rivers and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, with those quarterbacks especially, you cannot give them time to set up. You have to hit them early and often, and it gets them off their game. And that's what we did against Phillip Rivers the first time we played against him. He was under constant pressure. He couldn't step into his throws, and he was very ineffective. Without Mario Edwards Jr., it's all on Denico Autry and Dan Williams and Khalil Mack to apply pressure. So that I'm kind of worried about that aspect. It's going to be huge. On paper, it sounds like we should just beat the Chargers handedly. But the one true truth I always say, when it comes to division games, records go out the window, public perception goes out the window. It's just one big rivalry. And it's at the end of the year. They've had time to get in the rhythm, and the Chargers, kudos to Chargers fans and the Charger organization for getting a win last week. So that was big for them. Phillip Rivers is still a top flight quarterback. I feel this game's gonna be really, really close, and on paper it shouldn't come out that way. But somehow, in here, I feel that this game's gonna be really close, and it's gonna be a nail biter. Something in the back of my mind is telling me this. So I want to talk about the injuries. Mario Edwards, huge. Nate Allen, huge, obviously. Thank God we don't have to deal with Keenan Allen because he's out on for the year. They got Stevie Johnson and I think it's Iman for the other receiver. But the big guy we have to worry about, who's going to be a Hall of Famer when he retires, Antonio Gates. We have to contain him. We have to. Outside of getting to Phillip Rivers, getting him off his game, we have to contain Antonio Gates, the Hall of Famer. We have to. Double team him, triple team him if we have to. Forget about the other receivers. Forget about them. We have to contain Antonio Gates. And another guy who I'm going to say who we have to contain, who's going to be 1B. Antonio Gates is 1A. This guy is 1B. Danny Woodhead. I said it in the first game when I was previewing the first game between the Chargers and the Raiders. Danny Woodhead, we have to keep an eye on him because he can hurt us in space, specifically when he's receiving the ball. He is very dangerous. I believe he has the most catches among running backs in the entire league for this year. So that's something we have to look out for. And it's been said that it's been widely known that our linebackers have been kind of vulnerable. Actually, it's been blatantly obvious that we've been vulnerable in coverage for our linebackers. So that's one weakness that they probably will look to exploit. We have to tighten those things though. We have to keep Danny Woodhead on lock, and we have to keep Antonio Gates on lock. I'm not too worried about Stevie Johnson. He was a good receiver in Buffalo, but since he's gone to the 49ers and the Chargers, I just don't have the same fear from him as I did in Buffalo. So those are the two guys I feel we have to key on. Now, for the offensive side, I feel Derek Carr, he has to be smart with the ball. He can't be frivolous and trying to take chances to be the gunslinger all the time. I think he has to take his shots in terms of being a gunslinger, but just take what the defense is giving you sometimes. It's better to get a 5-yard completion instead of getting a 30-yard completion and getting a turnover. So he has to play steady. Also, let's stick with the run because the Chargers have been vulnerable to the run. So I feel that we should feature Latavius Murray early and often. I feel that going to the cornerbacks for the Chargers, they have obviously Jason Verrett, who I think is a very good corner. He's probably going to be matched up mostly against Amari Cooper. The big matchup that we have to exploit is Michael Crabtree going against Brandon Flowers. I feel that if we can exploit that matchup, that opens everything up. Because all of a sudden, if he's doing work, they might have to pay more attention to Crabtree. And all of a sudden, the big play threat, who is Amari Cooper, who had a good game last week against the Green Bay Packers with 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards, he can exploit people with double moves and coverage is rolling to a Crabtree. So all of a sudden, you have Amari Cooper single covered. That's how I feel that we should attack the San Diego Chargers defense. Also, offensive line, I really don't fear the pass rush from the Chargers. I really don't feel that. I feel our offensive line is competent enough to, even with the injuries that we sustained to Austin Howard, I feel that we had to shuffle some players around. I feel that we can contend with their pass rush. That's one thing I'm not really worried about. So, even with that said, And I feel that we have the advantage, and I feel that we will win. I feel that is going to be a nail biter, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say our defense is going to have to stop them 2 times in the fourth quarter. 2 times. That's how I feel. Now, obviously, I would like because I talked about our offensive woes in the fourth quarter, and we had a lot of offensive woes the entire year. I'm hoping the offense can click, but I think it's going to come down to our defense. We're going to have to come down. We're going to have to come up with a stop somehow, some way, 2 times in the fourth quarter. So that's my analysis of the game. Please feel free to give me comments and suggestions. Like, tell me, do you think we should attack the Chargers in a different way? Do you think we should be pass happy? Do you think we should just feature Latavius Murray like you agree with me? Or give me your analysis. Give me your assumptions of what we should do before tomorrow's game. And also, as always, please leave me comments and or suggestions about what I should talk about. I'm more than willing to talk about any subject you want to talk about. And thank you guys for watching. And a quick segue, a quick side note. I want to give kudos to Derek Carr, Amari Cooper, and Latavius Murray for being Pro Bowl alternates. I thought Derek Carr should have been in the Pro Bowl because he had comparable numbers, maybe slightly better numbers than Aaron Rodgers. But I realized that it's a popularity contest with the Pro Bowl, and you go on what you've done in the past. And Derek Carr's only in the second year, but man, I think he should have been in the Pro Bowl because they have similar numbers between Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr. But I guess it goes to the guy who's more established, which would be Aaron Rodgers, and it goes to the guy who has a better team right now, which would be obviously the Green Bay Packers because they're going into the playoffs. But still, the future is looking bright, Raider Nation. The future is looking bright, and I'm excited, but I'm nervous for this game. It should be a blowout, I feel, but somehow, when it comes to division games, it's always going to be a nail biter. So that's all I got today. Thanks again for watching. Please feel free to leave comments and or suggestions. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Let It Rip Sports Show. Thanks, guys. I appreciate all of you.